What's up YouTube, it's your girl Kay, and we are back with another video. I am doing a market analysis on gold and the yen pairs, pretty much all I trade at this point. I just want to give you like what I'm thinking, especially like what's been going on around the world with the fundamentals regarding the United States and the conflicts of, you know, between what's going on in the Middle East and all that. I just want to give like my insight about how I think the market is reacting, not just from fundamentals, but also the technicals as well. So yeah, without further ado, I'm just gonna go ahead and jump right into this video. Let's get into it. Yeah, so right now I'm looking at gold. I actually entered a gold position last Friday, right before market closed. Before I get into my position, I just want to talk about gold overall and its overall direction. So let's do that. So I'm actually going to hide my drawings and let's jump to the weekly time frame and just look. And as you can see, we are bullish on the weekly time frame, right? As you can see, we are only making higher highs, higher lows. Right here, price we came, we broke, retested this level, could not close below, and we are pushing up to make more highs on the weekly time frame, right? If I jump to the daily, you can see that we are starting to break out of this this range, and we are starting to again shift up to the upside. So again, right here, you can see price, we broke this structure point right here. So we broke, retested, right, and had another push to the upside. We had a major crash at the end of last month. In price, we came down and we wicked this daily support, but we never closed below, keeping our daily time frame bullish. So our daily time frame has always been bullish and has been bullish for a very long time. So having the weekly being bullish as well as the daily is giving me a very, very strong insight that we are going to be remaining bullish for a while now. So right here, as you can see, we are beginning to basically shift back up to the upside, right? I want to go ahead and jump to a 4 hour, and you can see like the 4 hour, we are indeed like pushing to the upside. And at this point, I can re-add my drawings, and you can see that there was a previous level of resistance. This level was acting as very strong 4 hour resistance. As you can see, price, like we fell from this level one time, we fell again, right? So this is a very strong 4 hour resistance level. Price has finally broke structure. So we broke above this level, right? We retested this level, right? And we are beginning to push against the upside, and that is why I decided to enter buys on gold, because I am a break and retest trader. If I see there is a area of structure that is like very strong, especially like on a 4 hour time frame, I love to wait for price to basically break above and then give me that retest below, just to show me that price doesn't want to go any lower. And then once I get that movement up for the next impulse, that is where I'm looking to enter. So essentially that is all this entry was just a simple break, retest, getting ready for this next push to the upside. So once I saw price was basically done with this consolidation, so we had some consolidation on the 1 hour that you can see. So I have a consolidation box here, and then price finally broke out of this consolidation. We came back to retest this zone right here, and we're pushing back up. I was like, okay, well, the 1 hour is finally shifting back in the bullish direction, right, which made my 4 hour continue bullish as well. So once we got pretty close to taking out this high, that is when I decided to enter, right? And I have my stop loss basically at these lows. Really, this is daily support. So when it comes to gold, I am very big on looking at the higher time frames because they are very smooth to me. I like trading things that are smooth, they're easy to tell, right? I don't like confusion, right? In the daily, it's just very simple to me. So right here, I can see on the daily, clearly we had that break, retest, and push up. So that is why I have my stop loss right here at daily support. A lot of fluctuation, almost 150 pips of a stop loss. So I have a lot of room for price to fluctuate and continue my direction. But overall, I do see price getting to these all-time highs very soon, right? If you just look at the technicals, not the fundamentals yet, but just the technicals, you can see we are bullish not only on the weekly, but we're bullish on the daily and the 4 hour, right? So all time frames are saying bullish, right? I have this Fibonacci tool drawn from the swing low to the swing high on the daily, right? Currently, I only have my targets on, but if I was to turn on my retracement levels, you can see that really we were just playing out this Fibonacci, right? So as you can see, we were basically playing out through these retracement levels. We finally broke the 38%. 9 times out of 10, when price breaks the 38%, we're heading to liquidity, right? And as you can see, we just broke this 38%. So I do expect to see a lot of impulse from this move next week, or possibly the week after, right? Just because we're breaking from this 38%. Usually when I trade Fibonacci, just from experience, when you break past 38%, you get a big impulse to take profit. So right now it looks like that is what's about to happen pretty soon. So just from the technicals alone, I have a really big reason of why to keep holding buys on golds. In fact, I am looking to potentially hold at least one more position, add one more position on gold before we reach all-time highs. If I jump back down to a 4 hour, you can see I have another Fibonacci on the 4 hour, right? So my swing low, swing high, price we came back down since 38%. As you can see, again, we got 38%, we got the 38% retracement and we are pushing back up. We just broke liquidity and we are heading towards our 27 extension, 61 extension level. So around these extension levels, I do expect price to have a little bit of exhaustion, right? Usually when we get to these levels, people are taking profit out the market, right? They're taking profit, and you might see a small pullback when you get in between these levels. You might see a small pullback. So around this time, when we get this correction, I am looking to potentially add just a little bit more to the trade, and then potentially you know, get that further push up to break all-time highs, right? So that is kind of what I'm looking for next week, some kind of retracement. Not only are these levels extension levels, but this is also where we have sellers, right? So there are actually sellers sitting right here on this level, right? We have sellers sitting here waiting to bring price down, right? This is the last price was before we fell on the daily time frame. So there are going to be more sellers waiting to push the market. So not only is the 27% like a confluence for me, but also just this zone, it was the last place as well. So I do expect to see a little bit of sellers kick in around this area. So I'm not going to be panicked, right? Because I expect price to shift a little bit when we get here, right? But ultimately, I do believe that we are going to finish this daily Fibonacci to the upside, right? My first take profit is going to be daily level liquidity. So my 0 level, my second take profit will be the 27 extension. And then my third take profit will be this next psychological level, 6,000. If I did want to hold a little bit longer, right, we do have this next psychological level, the negative 61. I just have to be mindful that when we get to this point, I might see a big, you know, reaction, a big retracement. So I can't be, you know, afraid of that. So, but yeah, this is kind of what I'm looking at for gold as of now. Honestly, I would not mind leaving long-term runners on gold, because as you can see, like gold, like long-term, and I'm gonna just turn on my drawings for a second, but gold is a very bullish, very, very bullish instrument. Like for years, we have only been in the uptrend on gold, right? So this is one of these instruments where, like, when you get a pullback like this, you kind of want to leave some runners behind. So this is what I'm looking at for gold. Not only are the technicals in line, but of course we do know, if you're paying attention to the news, we've had a lot of tensions going on between particular countries regarding like the US, countries in the Middle East. And when there is tension and when there is concerns about, you know, potential war and things like that, like people, they cling to gold. Gold is the safe haven, right? When the US dollar is down, when the currency is down, the people turn to gold. So a lot of people are buying gold in panic. So on the open, when the market opens in like a few hours, because it's like, it's 2 my time right now. So in about 2 hours, you're going to see a big gap up in gold, right? And that's going to be all the panic buyers basically jumping in out of fear. So I would say don't jump in because of like the fear and the FOMO. Like, stick to the technicals. Wait for your setup, right? Wait for your entry, because it's gonna happen anyways, right? Like, don't be the person that jumps in because of FOMO and then you get liquidated on the correction. Like, no, like, wait for your setup, right? Because the technicals just play through the fundamentals, right? The fundamentals are built into the technicals. So just wait for your setup and it's gonna be there, I promise. But yeah, and if you're curious about where gold will probably open up to, there is actually a digital asset on gold. It's like a crypto. It's called, I think it's like XAUUSD. Yeah. So basically, this is like the crypto version of gold. Is moving like during the weekend. And typically, wherever it opens here, gold 9 times out of 10 usually matches that. So if you're ever curious about where gold may be during the weekend, you can just look at this particular crypto and it will give you a pretty good idea, right? So gold has already broken past almost 5,400. So I wouldn't be surprised if gold opens up there too. So just something to watch for when the market opens. But yeah, so that's my analysis on gold. Just being bullish, waiting for another potential entry, and yeah, that's pretty much it for gold. As for my yen pairs, I'm gonna start with USDJPY. So I'm really not necessarily looking at USDJPY, and I'm gonna explain why in a minute. Well, for one, if I just look at price action overall, you can see that we are bearish, right? So on the weekly, right here, we broke structure. We broke structure to the downside. We had this correction and then another drop, right? On the daily, you can see again, right here, break a structure. There was structure right here. We broke that, came back for the correction. The reason why I'm not particularly looking at USDJPY is because when we came back down for this last push, price actually failed to clear this low right here, right? And I don't like trading price that doesn't create a new low, right? That doesn't create a new sort of direction. Like, this gives me kind of like indecision. Like, I'm now at this point, I'm kind of, you know, I'm not as confident that gold wants to continue this downward push because we failed to make a low. Because of that, I'm actually looking away from USDJPY. However, if you are looking to trade USDJPY, I would just say trade it with caution. So as you can see, last week price, we did pull back up to this level. We returned back to this level where price previously fell. So right here, this was where price broke structure on the 4 hour, right? And we broke and we basically came back to that area. So at this point, if you are looking at USDJPY and for, you know, you still want to look for a particular trade, I would just say just watch it very carefully, right? So as you can see right here, this was our last 4 hour support, right? We made this low and then we made this high, right? And right here, this is our 4 hour area interest. If you're looking to take sales, for one, price has to remain below this 4 hour area interest. The moment price breaks above this area, right, at this point sales are invalidated, right? So price has to come back and stay below this level before you could look for sales. Another thing to watch out for is just to see whether or not we're actually going to break this 4 hour support, right? So as you can see on the lower time frames, you can see that price is already starting to kind of shift in this bearish motion. So notice how these resistance levels are getting lower and lower and lower, right? So I'm looking to see if price is going to continue this downward motion, if we're eventually going to break to the downside. So price could either come and break below, give us the retest, and then do our bigger drop, right? Or price could eventually have a push to the upside and it continue to go up. So again, not really looking at USDJPY, just something to keep in mind, right? I would not look to really buy this until we clear like daily highs, and we're not really there yet. So I'm not liking this ranging motion, so that's why I'm personally staying away from USDJPY personally. I'm actually looking more towards something like EURJPY, right? So EURJPY, we had this huge break to the downside. So again, my weekly, we are bearish, right? We broke structure, so my weekly is bearish, right? On the daily time frame, we also had a clear, obvious break of structure, so my daily is also bearish. So my weekly is bearish and my daily is bearish. Both high time frames are saying bearish, right? Jump to a 4 hour. 4 hour, we had this correction again. We returned back to the same previous 4 hour area interest where we previously broke structures to the downside. We have returned for that retest, right? And at this point, I am looking to see whether price is looking to shift like in a bearish motion to head back down to the downside. So I'm really looking to see price kind of consolidate a little bit at this point, right? I'm looking to see whether or not between this range, because there is a range right here, right? Here's my 4 hour support, and then here is my 4 hour resistance, right? I'm looking to see like between this range, like what is price actually doing? Like, are we getting lower and lower? Are we looking to push above this, right? If we do push above this level and we break this 4 hour area interest, I am not interested into sales. Price will have to eventually come back below this level before I can consider sales again, right? So I need price to stay below this level. That's step one. Step two, I need my 4 hour time frame to shift bearish, right? Why is that? If you are on a daily time frame and you're heading down and you have this big correction, well, on the daily, how will you know when the correction is over? How will you know when it's time to get back in for the next push down, right? That is when you have to scale in into a lower time frame, and the best time frame that aligns on the daily is the 4-hour time frame, right? So while the daily is like having this motion, the 4-hour has a whole different structure set, right? So the 4-hour is going to look something like this. You're going to have lower low, lower highs, right? You're going to see a lot more, you know, fluid movement because it's a lower time frame, right? You can see more information as you come up, right? When we get to this point on the 4-hour, the only way you can know whether or not we are shifting bearish is what? When we break 4-hour structure. So if I have 4-hour support right here, I basically need to see price come down and break structure, look to retest, right? The retest shows me that it doesn't want to go any higher because you can get liquidity swept. We don't want to get liquidity swept, right? And once we get that retest, basically look to go even lower, right? So basically, this is essentially what I'm looking for on the 4-hour, basically a clear break of 4-hour structure or retest, and that is going to let me know, okay, it's time for sales. And at that point, I will be looking to basically take EURJPY to the downside. So I'm expecting price to get to, right, liquidity. So this is liquidity right here on the daily, right? As well as my second TP being the psychological level, 180, and then potentially even this 27 extension. So that is kind of the targets I'm looking for right here. I'm looking for price to basically continue this downward trend on the daily time frame. I'm just following what the daily time frame is doing. That is it. I'm just waiting for the 4-hour to shift bearish, and once I get that shift of structure and break a retest, I'm looking to hold it into the next level. So that is what I'm watching for next week. GJ, pretty much the same thing, right? We did have a reaction to this level, and we actually did end up breaking 4-hour support on GJ. So as you can see right here, we ended up breaking this 4-hour support. So I'm curious to see how we're going to react here. I'm not too keen on GJ right now because of where we are. So currently we're sitting on this very strong support level, right? As you can see, this psychological level 210, you can see we have a lot of buyers, right? We have a lot of buyer action, a lot of rejections. I would need price to basically break below this level and then give me a retest to show me it doesn't want to go any higher, and then drop below before I can consider selling on, you know, GJ. Because, you know, GJ is also bearish. We had that break of structure to the downside, right? So I would have to wait for that first, and it just makes more sense to wait for EURJPY because we're all the way down here, but EURJPY is up here. So at this point, I would get a better risk reward ratio if I took it up here. So that's why I'm watching mostly EJ for this week. EJ and gold is really all I'm watching for, if I'm being honest. So again, just to recap, gold, just looking to potentially add one more position and then hold it up for these next all-time highs. And then for EURJPY, I'm just watching structure to see when are we getting ready to basically shift bearish on the 4-hour and then head to the downside. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my analysis. Nothing too crazy. Last week I was trying to actually enter EURJPY on like the 2-hour, 1-hour breaking structure. In fact, if I go back to where I was, it was really this level. I saw this level, it was like a minor level, and I thought price was actually breaking structure here. So I saw it on the 4-hour, right? And I thought price was actually breaking and shifting right here. It seems like it's more like a 1-hour, 2-hour level, which is fine. But this is like a very obvious support level. Like if we're breaking this, then we're obviously going down. So I'm just really watching this range at this point. I'm playing it a lot more conservative this week. So I'm being very more conservative because I just want to have a really good position for, you know, the start of the month. It's a new month. It's March 1st. I'm excited. So yeah, that is what I'm watching for basically. I hope y'all found this video useful. This is not financial advice. This is just what I see and just how I read the market. And I just want to share those ideas in case y'all were curious about that. So yeah, I also dropped a poll. So I dropped a poll on my YouTube channel. Basically, I am looking to potentially, well, I am looking to basically open a, you know, community chat. So I'm trying to figure out what's the best platform. I basically threw out 2 potential platforms, Discord or Telegram. It looks like Telegram might be winning, not gonna lie. But basically, yeah, I just want your opinion. Like, not only do I want you to vote, but I want you to give me ideas of what I can do to help, you know, make the community better, or just overall just give better content. So yeah, y'all stay tuned for that. Go ahead and vote, right? I really want y'all opinion. And regardless, I might end up doing both, but this is really about where I'm gonna start at. So yeah, so I appreciate the feedback if you do give me feedback. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have, y'all. Until next time, hope you have an amazing, blessed day. Bye.